Oh, welcome to the show. This is Brenda Power, Medicine Woman. And what show do I have? Well, some people call it Quantum Law of Attraction. You know what Law of Attraction is, right? You know, it's what you focus on is what you get, but you sow what you reap. The Quantum Law of the Quantum Law. So, what is it? I've been doing quantum physics not as a physicist, but as a, I guess, a spiritualist. I don't know what you would want to call me. I don't know what label it is. I just know that I am able to, wait, no video? Just a second. Just, whoa. Oh, what happened here? Give me a second to figure out what's going on. Oh, there it is. Okay, good. Yeah, you had me scared there for a minute. Okay. So first of all, we're just going to start off. Spirits, the non-fleshies. Y'all stand behind me. There is a line on the carpet so that you can see all your loved ones. And I hope you have asked all of your loved ones to come to the show. And so happy to see all these beautiful faces. You know, I've come to Australia, and what the nicest part is I've been here for almost 5 years, and finally it's time that I can adventure out. And now it's like I only known you for just a little bit, but it feels like I've known you for a lifetime. Just seeing the pretty names, and then, because I can't really see the icons, but I know what you look like, and you're beautiful. Your soul is what I look like the most. So it's great to see. And I really, oh, good. Look at that. Someone shared. Woohoo, Lenny, get your pen out. Okay, so I'm not sure, but I really feel like somebody on the other side stutters. Just to be aware, because as I'm trying to speak, the words don't want to connect with my mouth. And I'm like, that'll be interesting. Okay. New adventures, the quantum law of attraction. Let me tell you something very interesting. In my group, Quantum Law of Attraction, and that's going from ash to ashes, that is going to the ashes. So you're sending by taking and burning up, changing all of those things about yourself that you just you're not happy with. It's not that you don't like them as much as you're not happy with. And people just think that's life. But on the quantum law, it's very small. When I'm looking at you, and there's no such thing as time or distance in this realm of spirit and me, there's just energy, time, and there's information and frequencies. And I know there's a whole bunch of other stuff. I just can't think of the words. Not only do they stutter, but they're very forgetful. Just to let you know, if anybody's familiar with that. But we're not taking them through yet. They're just pushing. Okay. So, and now I'm messing with my ear. Okay, just wait your turn, please. Whew, let's try this again. Quantum law of attraction. So, I see these energy cords from you to your experiences and time of your life or soul life. And these cords have information, energy, frequency that all sit there, and they help make up what is your, what do you call it? Your soul contract. Goodness gracious, they're persistent. So what do we got? Alzheimer's maybe, or just slightly forgetful, persistent, and maybe a stutter. Maybe some physical issues. No, I'm not going to bring them through. We're going to respect my world for a moment. And So we're going to say thank you and welcome Lenny. She wasn't able to be here on Tuesday. I got to remember to keep my days straight. But you're here now, so if you share and you like, subscribe, whatever, she keeps track of how you shared, and then she puts your name in the box, and then you get a chance to win a reading or a healing. Now, quantum law of attraction. I see the very small. I see the information, the details, the frequencies, the stories. Today was a big one for me because as a child, you don't remember usually like first so many years of your life, but I remember what I go to school and I had a hard time making friends, and I don't know why I couldn't really approach. And then what happened was I would really all right, I need my selenite. I'm not getting it. It's up there. I'll just bring the energy to me. And I would have to wait for somebody to come up to me so that I could play with them. And now that I'm older, as time passes, I did a lot of my healing of my shyness, my introvertness, my inability to articulate, communicate. And it was very interesting to see how I really couldn't communicate. So again, for all those that just popped in, if you share this live, then Lenny will see it and put your name in the box for a chance for you to win. Okay, so I wrote it up on my board. On the side here, I have a board that I write things on. And in my life, without dogging anybody out, I've seen a pattern. That's what you have to look for, is a pattern. And this is something that follows you, okay? You may be so used to it that you don't see it. And one day you'll hear something just completely different. And so I'm like, as an adult, there's part of me that feels like I've got to chase people. I'm not afraid to talk to them now. I'll approach. I'll just be who I am and be your authentic self. But to get certain things to work, I have to compromise myself. I've worked on that one. So this is what happens when you start to work on certain things and you're like, oh, it's back. It's not that back the same way. It is in a layer. Okay, it's hooked to the mothership. The mothership is like the roots, or the roots. I hear people laugh at me when I say it over here in Australia. So what happens is that you end up taking and viewing life. This is your living meditation. The more you are connected to your spirit, the more you can allow yourself to be authentic and to look through spirit lens and not just the ego lens, okay? And you're able to decipher more and more. And the more you do, the more you work with your soul, the more you work with spirit, the more you are working with whispering opportunities that help you grow, that help you evolve. So when you start to see them, you may not be able to have an idea or a tool to how to heal them, or that there even is a tool, but there is. But slowly but surely, you learn to apply things without having to use drugs. Okay, you learn how to apply, hold on, I gotta get my thing to work. All of your tools and techniques. And the more you educate yourself, the more you're going to find out that you can grow and be in a space where you don't have to be so involved with drama. Some of you don't even go looking for it. I know somebody today, excuse me, if they come on and they choose that they want to talk about the subject, then I will be glad to do a kind of a reading on it, because I'm asking people in the group, the Quantum Law of Attraction group, just to give me issues. Not physical issues. You can have, yes, ask me. Not just those, but issues in life. Why did so-and-so be a dick to me? And what's funny is I'm trying to get this to work, and for some reason my iPad's not working, and I know that Lenny has wrote me, but well, they're really playing with my, what do you call it? Why do they do that? This person is so persistent that they're now messing with my, how's the focus? I even noticed if that's good or bad. Okay. Hope I don't lose you. But this is ridiculous. They have really just screwed this up. Okay, fine. We're definitely not going to get to talk tonight if you don't fix my thing. Okay. Quantum law of attraction, I want to talk about it, but we're having spiritual difficulties. Rihanna said, James' dad had physical issues, trouble speaking, dementia, which some thought was Alzheimer's. Okay. Now, normally I don't bend under pressure. But I want my equipment to work because I seriously want to be able to connect with you so that we both can grow and to live. Okay. Let's see what else. Tabitha says, let's go a bit further. I don't know exactly what she says, but Tabitha says, I only asked because my father-in-law is Italian and his massive language barrier had physical issues. Yes, that's right. All right, so now I find this interesting. So this is what we do. We take clues. It's not just that sometimes you have spirit that'll do these things to you. And I wanted to share with you that my story, but it's not going to make any sense if I keep getting disruptions. So as I'm trying to tell my story, I have disruptions in my life that doesn't allow me to solve. And that's what the majority of you people have done too, is that life will come in and make it very difficult for you to communicate and to do what you need to do. Hello. So now they want to cause me to have like an allergic reaction. All of a sudden, I want to start sneezing. Wow. Okay. I'm just going to pull myself together. Do a few of my, what do you call it? Energy quibs here. Quibs? Really? All I heard was darling daughter. Now, if I take the eyesight away, then that be screwed there. There's too many people now because all of a sudden I heard, I don't care what you think of me, in this sort of tone and posh type voice. This isn't the non-fleshy show. Come on. But we can get distracted by technical issues, things that can wreck our day. Somebody complaining, somebody harassing, somebody just literally is, they literally shut the switch off. They're so good. Sometimes the power can just go straight down. Last night, we lost electricity just on our street. Can you believe it? Almost for a good hour. I was in the middle of trying to help a friend and gone. And she's in the middle of a snowstorm and her electricity should have went out. Ours? Blink. If you look outside, it was just our street and behind. Okay, electricity's back. Interruptions. We take the clues in life. We can get thrown off balance, but can we recenter ourselves? It's the kind of question, well, it's a sort of question. I want to take information and I want to translate your life to you. Tabitha. She says, I could really do so with some guidance from him to help my baby get through his horrible situation at the moment. Now, you are viewing what's happening with your son, I think. And remember, it's his issues too, but he's your first ring. You can heal your crap, but you can also help him. Now, I'm not sure exactly what kind of communication, because my son, he wants nothing to do with this. My daughter, on the other hand, Mom, what spot do I hold? And your whole world can change. But we can sit down and break that down to what... yes, son. Okay, good. Okay, so tablet works. You can get things going. Did I lose my crap? Did I really give my power away? No, I went with the flow just enough to show you that I have to compromise myself in order to get things to work. And adaptation is beautiful. I heard that whistle. Adaptation. Adapting is beautiful. But what happens was that I was trying to help somebody. And I have to be careful. I don't want to help somebody that wants it less than I want it for them. They got to want it. Because then they'll make time. They'll be looking for the answer. They will apply it. They will go that extra mile for themselves. That's what I'm looking for. And as I'm doing this, my husband says to me, well, you shouldn't have to chase them. You shouldn't have to want it more than they do. They should be able to figure it out and come to you and say, hey, I'll do it this time, or I'll do it here. Oh, God, please, and be thankful. And I'm like, it just hit me in a whole different manner. And I was like, seriously? How come I didn't see this before? And because it wasn't the time. So I decided to write it on the board. And this is what you can do at home. This is what you can do on your pad of paper. So I wrote down my childhood thing. And it's not that I didn't think it was resolved. It's just that I noticed this pattern. So then I wrote the above pattern, noticing that I get false starts. I'll go to get going and it doesn't happen. I was in Michigan and I went to a fair and I was one of the healers in the group. And what happened then was my ex at the time was sitting out in the lobby selling his cookies, and my the people I worked with before, which loved me, were sitting there talking. They go, Brenda would really get more people if whatever that thing is around her, if that was gone. I never got to ask them. My ex told me like 2 days later, and that's odd. And it's those things that stick in your mind and you put on the shelf. You'll learn later about what I mean by putting it on the shelf. Then I said, okay, their reaction to me as I'm chasing them, their reaction to me is what? Spirit said, rejection. Oh, so when I'm looking at them, their reaction is rejection. And a part of me goes into the old pattern of like irrational thinking. It's not here, it's in the physical. It just doesn't make sense. I've done everything I could to adapt, to change, to grow, to give, to balance. Then as I went down, I said, okay, as a kid, a reaction from them was hatred. And that kind of shocked me because that's a huge word. Okay, if you haven't realized it, it's a huge word. And I said, why? Because the energy that they were reacting to was because I had an automatic response. As a kid, I don't remember, but they said the word stubborn. I said, did I just get that stubborn at that age? No, you got it from when you were in the womb. So you can have a prenatal conception trapped emotion. And in this case, it was deprived. Oh my God, everything just started to answer. When I asked about the stubborn, they said it's because you're determined not to see them interested in me. So the wall was, I can't see you love me. I can't see you be interested in what I'm interested in. So it doesn't allow the bonding to come through. So I did a big healing and a big shift. And now I have to see if there's any other layers. But what will happen is you can start to change your environment and the people around you. Okay? This I want you to understand. No, I lost her. Ooh, a lot of people whistle. Tabitha, there you are. Well, that's great. I hope they all don't whistle. So, you mentioned that your son was having a terrible time. Okay, so you know what? Get used to the whistle because I don't think it's going to go away. There's a lot of male energy here. I just know that that's not the way I sound. What kind of horrible experience? Can you explain to me how he is describing it, or how other people have told you, or how do you know it's horrible? Have you come to that conclusion? Let's do an interview type thing. I know the lapse makes it a big difference. I got to get used to that. But we'll go from there. And I was thinking, while I'm waiting for her to respond, is that I think I'm going to do a morning show and a night show on Facebook, and then do a morning show and a night show on YouTube Live. And I would love to be able to get them in sync, but every time I try to get them in sync, I know you're supposed to use another program, but again, I think it's because this is Windows 7 instead of Windows 10. And the compatibilities, I've been researching into a lot of things. Okay. So when you're looking at the quantum law of attraction, you know, your simple law of attraction is what you sow is what you reap. What you focus on is what you get. It's an echo. It's what you put out, it's what comes back. But the quantum law is to take and look deeper. You can see the bigger picture if you choose. I mean, that's right-brained. You can see the details. Or you can, you think in male and female. Males tend to be one-track minded. They focus and get it done. And as one comedian said, when they go Christmas shopping, they go out, they get the one item, they come home, they wrap it, stay under the tree, go back out. It's hunting and gathering. Hunting, bring it home. Okay? And then women know how to, what they used to call multitasking, is not really about multitasking, it's about micromanaging. Can go out and do, think about this, think about that. And it's the way our brains function. And you can be stuck in one part of your brain versus another, and you can develop the other side, if you would like to. Okay, so Tabitha said, I personally witnessed it this afternoon. Rumors spreading and attempting physical violence. Oh my gosh. Okay, first of all, we're going to clear your lens. Now, has he, that's a very important question, has he had anything happen to him? Has he witnessed it? Has he been exposed to it? Is he aware of it? Just asking. Because the thing is this, if the energy is coming to you first, meaning you're viewing it from this direction, and hasn't happened to him, amen, let's say, then we can actually begin to heal the cords of your soul contract that said this is meant to happen, okay? We don't want that to be proof. We don't want, unless you're looking for proof, unless that's your fight in life. If that is your fight, and if that is your proof, then there's not something I can really do about that. Let me explain why. Every time I would have a client come in with a physical issue, I would have to ask, is there a lawsuit pending? And I learned to ask this question because I had several people that did have lawsuits pending but didn't tell me. But every time they'd come in, they wanted to be healed. And I could not understand why it was two of them that would revert back. And then another one it would just look like they were doing this because they wanted relief, but deep down, they know they couldn't. All three of them had an outcome. They have to fulfill this outcome. And I said, when you are done with your contract, come back. We'll talk. We'll heal. Until then, you're not going to give up that attachment to that emotion or that physical trait. So now Tabitha says several boys, but one ringleader, this boy even went to hit me for protecting my son. Okay, so now what's interesting is that, let's see, yes, he's very aware of it, and he came to me first and told me. Okay, so you're learning how to bond. He has been bullied most of his school life. We can do something about that. Good, no lawsuits. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is, I'm going to have to ask them. All right, so tonight's pendulum is really cool. It's all chakra chips, chips. And then the bottom of it's really cool. See that? Okay. And that came from my one good friend, Sarah, which I don't see her tonight, but Miss Sarah Swan. Okay. All right, so the avenue they want me to go through is for you first, because let me ask you, were you ever bullied? Or somebody that you loved beside your son, when you're younger, did you ever witness it? That's what they're asking. He has high functioning autism, ADHD, sensory perception or processing disorder, and high anxiety. He's always targeted. Okay, so look at the word she used, always. So that tells me that the magnetic thing is that it has to come to him because he had asked for something. Don't get upset. In his soul contract, his soul said that this is the perception he's supposed to see. Now, we'll get to changing that. But first, we have to understand the story of what your souls came in to do. Now, Tabitha says, yes, I was bullied all my school life. Now, you got to understand, he's your son. He's a product of you, which means don't take it personal that you passed it on. I'm not saying that you deliberately did it. Do not go there. This is a soul thing that occurs. Do you understand? It just happens to be passed down because he chose you as his mother. Again, if you're going to go in to be upset, then we need to heal that first, because then it takes off. I'm not bullying you or anything. I want you to see. So you both agreed that this is what you wanted to happen into your life. We need to take that agreement and all the proof that it happened. This is all the experiences that you've accumulated and says, oh my God, I remember this time. Oh, I remember this. And then it's that lens. Now, from what I can tell, you have been bullied how many lifetimes? At least 5 lifetimes for you. And for your son, countless. Well, let's just give me a number. 245. So this is not his first rodeo. He's been doing this a long time, which means he hasn't learned something specific. But from what I can tell, he's a very old soul. With that in mind, his job is to bring in certain frequencies, which would explain, like he said, he's a high functioning autism. So he knew that he was coming in at this time to bring in certain frequencies and help hold it so that the new energy come in. So we thank him. Thank you very much for doing that, because then we can actually move into a new direction that we've never been in quite some time. For you, in order for you to have him in your space, you had to experience what bullying was for at least 5 lifetimes. Okay, so hopefully somebody out there is taking notes. We have to heal that she knows what bullying is and that it has always happened to her throughout her life. Out my school life. When you got out of school, did it happen after you got out of school? Did you get bullied by aunts, uncles, neighbors, loved ones. You're married, so that depends on you how you want to look at that. But have you felt like you were bullied at any point beyond high school? She says, oh, trust me, I blame myself for this happening. Number 2, we have to heal how she blames herself, because that is also another magnetic attraction. It's part of, let's see, to blame herself. What's really happened is now it's just become a habit. And the habit is at 3 years old that she became very self-conscious, of what was happening. Not right or wrong, but self-conscious of this bullying. And she was convinced to blame herself. No, she blamed herself because, again, at that age, why wouldn't she? So wait a minute, what's invading energy? Which energy? So invalidating is from the large intestine, is invading into the spleen of failure. Okay, please take notes. Somebody please take notes, because I'm hoping this video doesn't go crack. Meaning disappear. Okay, I was bullied in my family and workplace, extended family. Okay, you gotta remember, when you first start out, okay, so your soulful life comes in, you come into this one, and what happens is you take and make that moment memorable by recording it, by taking so much of your life force to remember, okay? So it becomes like an active memory or something so that it can stay vibratory. It's not quite like a bell or anything, but it has its own frequency. And it can be in its own pattern or strategy. But then as you get older, these people that first did it disappear and maybe don't do it as much, but you have to bring in the next set of people that you have to be close to or learn from. And they also raised their hand as a soul before they come over and said, oh, I'm going to bully you too. So we have to take and notice which pictures are in your eyes about bullying, how you hear it, how you feel it, and break down all the definition of what bullying is for you. Once we start to put it on a scale from 0 to 10 and literally start to wipe that out, then we can start to resolve these particular frequencies that are attached for these things to be created. We will clear out the bullying from specific people, or the signature, which is the type of person, that they are, because that signature can pass it on to anybody, and you wouldn't think it would, but it does. So we have to really look and address that. Now, as far as, and again, even though they're no longer in your life, I want to say, okay, for instance, are you being bullied at all today? When you think about it, how you know bullying, and do you know anybody or anything, any place, any business, anything that's bullying you? Because you can literally start to realize that, like, oh, I married my mother. And the sense that it was that particular behavior, that particular emotion, that particular signature and habit. Then again, every time you age, you take the next set of people that's supposed to come into your life, and those people are gone. But if that particular pattern is now transposed, coming from another place, from another perspective, you're growing. Hopefully you're growing to release it instead of growing to gather. It sounds like your son is growing to gather, which means there was a specific moment in history, his soul life, that he couldn't let go of, and to the point where that's what he sees. That's what he sees, and he takes that lesson. That's what he sees, and there's a lot we can do for helping him as well. So Olivia says changing the mindset, and that's what we're doing. When you begin to do hope therapy, EFT, changing, eye accessing, and all of that, it literally takes the chemical peptides, calms it down, changes the thought processes, and you can change that lens of how you see it, because when that happens, it's so much easier to flip the script. When you haven't done anything, you can sit there and you can chant all you want, being positive, seeing the good things in people. But what happens is that all it does is overcome. It taught you to suppress, store it, make it pop up like pop goes a weasel for later, and it'll eventually accumulate, and then it'll show up as a physical sensation. So we want to get it out by the root. And hopefully this will make sense. Now, we have to take care of all the pain that comes from bullying. The main thing is that you know what it's like to be helpless. Sorry. You didn't see that, but I have a box up here and it just decided, Spirits decided that it's just going to tip it over it's been sitting there for 2 months. So you have arrested development. You know what it's like to be a victim. And that's part of the paradigm we would need to get rid of. When you start to I don't even call it. I hear all you guys are saying it. Transform. They're really coming strong. The paradigm of feeling like a victim, that is a huge one because it's on the collective whole. I mean, your son is up on the collective whole, and we would need to change that. This is what's important too, is that we have to look to see if there's any unhealthy cords that are happening. So there's lots of things we can do, and there's more to the story, and it's not just a one-time fix. You got to understand, this just can't be worked on for one time. You change some of the program because your inner world creates your outer world. You change some of that program by dissolving, and which is you resolve to evolve those chemical peptides, and then you learn to educate yourself with new positive thinking, look at another perspective of how to see it, and you really will begin to educate yourself, and then that arrested development you'll start to blossom. Okay, but if you intentionally begin to live, you'll be amazed at how much farther you can go in life. The habits. Now, in the habit field, we have a morphogenic field, and it's our habit field. And you literally, not only do you have to tap and heal it out, but you literally have to catch yourself. Yes, catch. You have to catch yourself. So you begin to ask spirit, work with it, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh shit, I did it. Now you may discover you did it 2 hours after you'd done it. That's okay. You focus on that, you tap it out, and it takes some dedication. Boom. Next time you do it, you'll catch it sooner. And then you'll start to catch yourself when you're doing it. And you're like, and then you're going to find out how much you enjoy doing that habit. Then you have to heal out how come I'm addicted to that habit. And then it's the wrestling. I cannot say that word, wrestling with I love it too, I don't want it. And then it's really meeting the two sides of your conflict. And and you got to really ask yourself, how bad do you want the end result? You can go backwards or forwards, but how do you want it? And then eventually you're going to be able to not just flip the script, but you're not going to have the roots in there. Now, Tabitha says, apart from the situation today, yes, I have been bullied by several people who are not directly in my life anymore, but they have been slandering me to many people. Okay, now that's good to know. Why? Because it's not happening here. Okay, this is your center. And your first ring would be your husband and your son and your animals and whatever. And then the second ring would be if they tell you stories, or your friend comes in and tells you a story. But what you just said is like the third or fourth ring out. Okay, it means that you've learned to put up walls, barriers, or things, or you've learned to resolve and to grow. We won't know until we've had a session. And if your video is cutting out, understand if you're using Wi-Fi, it may cut out for you, but not for others. I do have an Ethernet cord, so it helps me be more stable. Okay, let's see. Well, hopefully, Tabitha, everything was recorded here and that you can get this. Now, you got to understand what you missed. And if it's still recording nicely, what you missed, you understand your ego didn't want you to hear. Now, if we can work as a group and help her understand what the last 2 minutes was about, which don't ask me at this moment because I'm channeling a couple things and trying to keep a barrier away from them. But if you can help us out, we work as a group and a family. Okay, Wi-Fi will do that. Try to see if you can get hooked right to an Ethernet cord, and that won't then it'll happen less, let's just say. Okay, so family out there, if you remember what I said in the last 2 minutes about Tabitha, or just what I randomly talked about is important, which I think was the rings out, the rings. Tabitha, did you hear me talk about the center and the first ring, second ring, third ring out? If so, yes or no, just let me know. But if you have shared any of this internet or any of things, good, Robin, you remember some things. Just remember to share, and that name goes into the box. Yes, she said yes, you heard that ring. So did you hear what the positive correcting or thinking instead of being a victim? And that was simply the correction process, and you'll hear it again. So if you had forgotten, if that cut out so you couldn't hear the correction process, is because, now here's an interesting thing for y'all. Wait until that happens to you, and then you go, oh fuck, that's cool but weird. So what will happen is you begin to awaken. Okay, somebody will say something or do something, and all of a sudden it like trips you, and you're like, wait, what? And they'll be telling you something about you, and your old self would see it as a flaw and a failure, and you'd think, oh God, I hate them, or oh, that touched a button. But in this case, your ego would be like, I don't want her to know this. Shh, shut her up. She didn't hear that. But you're like, wait, what? It's like you overheard a whisper. What? No, hold on. I think I got it. Oh, all right. My habit is, wait. And then you try to write it because you got it. And if somebody's in the room with you and you're listening to this, oh my God, please have them help you write it down. Because you know what your handwriting looks like. You go to write it, you will forget how to spell letters. And I said that correctly, not just spell words. You're like, what's a T look like? And does that go in the word I'm using? I mean, you literally get dumbfounded. And then when you finally, I keep remembering, you begin to write it, your handwriting will look like it's somebody else's. But you got it. You witnessed it. You kept it. And then you're going to study it, and then you're going to focus it, and then you're going to break it, because what happens is that you're going to, miss it 2 hours after the fact, and then all of a sudden 10 minutes after the fact, and right when you're doing it, and then when you hear the actual fighting, because that's what I was saying, when you're fighting with the conflict and you realize you enjoy that nasty habit, and then when you get to that one point, when you are ready to break it, your ego's like, I can't let her know. And too late. I caught you. You learned that you could spy on yourself. And it's funny it's funny because you have to experience it. And I think Lenny actually experienced it, because she's like, oh, your eyes get big, your whole body, wait, what? And then you're catching it. You're not in the hot seat anymore. You could care less. It's not the same frame of mind. You're like, whoa, but that's so familiar, and I can get it. And you will. So pay attention to when spirit don't want you to, or spirit, ego. Now look at the ego trying to blame when ego does not want you to hear it. And it's the over-identification process of your programs. we're learning to break into those programs and change them. So as far as Tabitha goes, when it comes to your son, you know, like I said, he's been doing that for quite a long time. Plus, he came in with a job to do. He's in a strict panic mode in this oscillating energy, which means anything out here, in here. So is his vibration, where is his vibration? His vibration is too high. So we would have to, if you can get him to participate, otherwise you'll have to learn how to do it as a surrogate for him, providing you have permission, and I'll teach you all that down the road. But if we can get his vibration down, and so the oscillation are high, then the frequency inside will switch to where you then can be more, what do you want to say, firmer into this planet, which is because your vibration and your frequency is different. And a lot of our issues is because we're too high frequency or high vibration. We want to be high frequency. And with the 12th dimensional bodies and all of this other stuff, which I haven't shared with anybody, which we eventually will down the road, you have to learn how to change all this. And sometimes it's just a quick meditation to help you visualize. And when you begin to get the rhythm of the higher frequencies and the higher vibrations and the 12th dimension and learning to channel it, what happens is that there's a whole other thing that occurs, and healing can happen dramatically. Now, besides all that, he was told that he had to learn what helplessness was, because in one part of his past lives, he had learned that he had to be just an ego domineering person. So he wanted to learn the flip switch on it. But his soul planned all these things because it knew it was coming in at this point, because it's not linear, it is spiral. We all know. There's a lot of things you can do. So Lenny, pick somebody. We have a lot of shares. Hopefully you got all the names in. And we will draw a name and wait for Miss Lenny. Robin says, stop believing that the way you were brought up is the only true line. It's an amazing thing when you wake up and you start seeing different cultures, and you, especially traveling, if you can get like the children to see different experiences and talk to other little kids or other kids that have different experiences from where they are, especially if they can be open. Oh, my foot fell asleep. Now, I'm not sure, but if Katrina Benjamin is here, I don't know if I've seen that name at all, but if you are here, your name has been pulled. And these are the people that share during the week. Sometimes they share just because they love me and just want to share. And I put your name in the box anyway. They know that, but a lot of times people just say, oh, no, I just wanted to share. So that was very nice of them. But again, if Katrina Benjamin is here, then that'll be great. Then we can do a reading. We'll give her a minute or so. Now, Tabitha, you basically have a reading. But what I wanted you to learn from this was, you had a life issue. Those can be answered. Those can be resolved. Those are a remarkable thing to do, because that is everyday experiences. I know Olivia had one too, but I don't know if she saw that I had commented. I commented on her thing, but I also wrote back and said if we wanted to talk about it tonight, I would be open to it. So if Katrina Benjamin happens to be on, she's not here now, I will honor that reading. But since she's not here as of yet, we will go to Robin Schultz, okay? And Robin, you are welcome, Tabitha. Oh, and it's nice because she said it really, really helped, which means she understood what I was saying. And there, again, don't take life for granted, because we get caught up in ego and don't think there's a solution. I'm here to help you do everyday solutions. I'm here to help you understand you can change that reality out there, but first you have to change the inner world. But you have to learn how you create your inner world. Like I said about how Robin said, we have to understand that it's not just how we were brought up. And then we chose each parent. We chose everybody in that specific arena so we can get caught up into it. Olivia, before I get to Robin, you were talking about the water sprinkler issue. And what I had said was, wouldn't it be interesting to see why you had this happen to you? I mean, you can, you flat out, you had this issue, and then this guy being who he was, but there's a story to energetically of why your inner world created this outer world for you to react that way, to have this happen, why the dynamics of the soul happened, okay? Aw, I love this. So Tabitha says, if my name gets pulled, pass it to Liz. That's very good. All right, so we'll see. Okay, Robin, do you have anything like Tabitha had? Do you have an issue? That is what I'm really here for, is to help you understand how your life is happening. It's your matrix. It's your law of attraction. It is your life, and you don't have to put up with it. Okay, there are certain things we have to experience, feel, because there are certain emotions that we truly have not experienced or we truly have not let go of. But all of a sudden, I'm getting a lot of gas. I want to burp. So here, this point here, this third chakra, that's also called an emotional point. and it's an emotional point. And what happens is emotional tank, and it gets full, then it can interfere with all of the things inside, which is your second brain, third brain, because your heart is one. And what happens in there is that the noises are just the emotions. And yeah, sometimes you have gallbladder removed, and so you have extra issues going on because your body can't process certain things. But usually it's an emotional thing that you can't process. And it's attached that you can't digest something or metabolize. And before we get into Robin, because she hasn't said anything just yet, well, she has now, because it just popped up, is I just want to answer about cords, entanglement cords, or energy cords, however you want to call them. They are coming from you, attached to your past, or even attached to your future. And I can see the story. It is the information, the light language, all of the emotions, all of the experiences, all of your programs, and they are right there. And so I got to get in, and I got to find the right one that your soul says it wants to work on. Your soul always tells you what soul it wants to work, or your soul will tell you what it wants to work on. Robin says, if I get my timer. Oh, all righty. It's going to be a little whoopee today. Okay. 7 minutes. Here we go. Hubby is having kidney issues, and I just wondered, will I have an easy path? Now, that's interesting because she asked if she's going to have an easy path. And I'm going to tell you no, because the way that you experiencing with issues with other people is that you haven't let go of the awkwardness, the situation. So you're going to be going through his drama. So you haven't learned how to be more you and less them. Did that make sense to you? Our identity is based on what's in our environment, whether it's our job, our family, our husbands, our kids. My identity was my mother and her cancer. I wanted to have a life, but I was devoted to her. And so this pattern, now what you do is that you have to understand that your job is not here to save them, but to love them. And if they are going to go through a whole bunch of physical issues, and if your job isn't to help them, pass on information like healing tools, because there are people in my life that I loved, but they didn't believe the way I believed. Now, I did my best. I said, look, I would be doing you injustice if I didn't tell you what I did. They're here for you if you want. They didn't understand it. They didn't want to understand it. This is their agenda. This is how they wanted to die. Okay, so I have to be okay with their drama. But I didn't have to lose myself into their drama. I kept asking the Spirit, how do you want me to show up? And sometimes I would just show up like putting my hand on their forehead. And they were taking it as love, but at the same time, their body was receiving energy. And you can tell when they reject it. You're not forcing yourself on them, but you can help. Now, understanding about kidney issues, they go deep, but they only hear criticism. If they have that filter, especially in their ears, they need to do ear accessing. But if he doesn't do it, he doesn't do it. But he, from the start, heard criticism since 1 year old. And it just cuts to the quick. Anytime that he wants to be himself, he was made to feel irrelevant because the issue, whatever was going on in the environment, was much more important than him. That is how he defined it as a 1 year old. A 1 year old, you think they have the ability to really comprehend? Okay, so but you can understand his soul said this is how he's going to cope, handle, manage, deal, pacify. So it came out as a physical condition. Now there's other things on top of that. Okay, that's like, what about me? When's it my turn? Just take care of me. Now sometimes kids, they get to miss out on the primal needs of being dry, being fed, being loved, being cuddled, being important. There's tons of little things that these little humans need. And when our soul says we're not supposed to get bonded with somebody or this and that, then it can be very detrimental to our psyche. But our soul chooses this. You understand? You get it. There's no blame here. There's a cause and effect. You can either sit on the effect side all your life and say, that's what they've done to me, or you can jump into the spiritual aspect, jump into the cause and say, I can make this stop. Okay? Now, Robin says, I tried to step away, but he drags me back in. Now we're talking. Why do you get sucked back in? Why? Now, that is what I'm going to read. All right. When he goes into this particular sorrow, he's looking for, would you say support? Would you say he's looking for a minion? Does he keep pushing until you say what he needs to hear so that he becomes relevant? I'm waiting for your answer. We'll see. He's an eldest of 6. A lot of pressure was probably put on him to be the perfect child. And probably the one that got expected a lot of, and so on. So what happens, like I said, I'm waiting for Robin to answer that question. A lot of right and wrong. And does he give you speeches about what's the right way to do things and how the wrong way to do things? Does he have to be in complete control? Does he have to maneuver things in order for things to work out? And again, if he does these things, you got to remember, sometimes, they're looking to you to give you that support to, Oh, come on, screen. Robin said he's very good at guilt tripping. When visiting specialists, it's me that holds information. Okay. See? All of these little things. Now, you're very vulnerable to guilt tripping. Yes? Because this is his nature, temperament, because it went from emotion to all the way up to personality to now it's a temperament. And he's fine with that because that's who he is. He's carved himself out. And if he doesn't want to grow, that's, again, his choice. But it's how you can be in a specific space. I can't say words. Specific space that says, I need this. But you haven't figured out how to because you keep falling in that tripping. So we want to help you heal that tripping. When you can, set an appointment, we'll take care of this. Take notes as you're sitting in class. This is class, people. You take notes and you create a book, and then we can go through and we begin to heal the triggers, help you change your thinking, and do all of that. Now, I believe Lenny will be here Tuesday night to help us understand, because she's done some healing. We're going to interview her on this. Now, before I go, I have to say, you have somebody on the other side, yes? And if you do, say yes. And when you do, then you're going to get a card from them. That's if my screen cooperates. Lost all the get up and go and gained. Oh, that's a lot. Yeah, because sometimes that's you or him. Anyways, when you say yes, or yes, I have a loved one on the other side, then a card will come through. Or we don't have to wait for your response because of the leg. This could be for, is this for Robin? Okay. Yes. Oh, she did. Okay, yeah, because it wears you down. Your metabolism is about how it processes, and after a while, it can just get clogged. And that's where, if you feel like you're not getting the love that you need, then what happens is that your body then will start to pick up love from the environment. Now, you don't even have to eat food. But if you do, then your body's going to go, I can let that go. That loves me. Jeez, oh, pizza, it loves me. And it may sound strange, but it's like when you are eating, when you should be drinking water because you're thirsty, but you don't recognize the difference. Well, it's the same thing as when you're not getting the love that you know is meant for you. Even though he may love you to pieces, this can be a program from the past, but you need that love in that moment. So what happens is that you can just hold on to things and gain weight. Now, this card is in the upright position. It's called Adjacent Possibilities. The deck is Energy Oracles by Sandra Ann Taylor. And it, like I said, it was upright. It's number 24. And I have both contacts in because putting one in, it just drives me nuts because I can't see. 24, it says, I'm going to have to put some readers on. Isn't that just crazy? That's okay. Now I look like a teacher. Hopefully a good one. Okay. Many unconsidered options. Sometimes the force of habit keeps you stuck and unaware of potential healthier and happier choices at hand. Yet every moment gives you the option to open a different door and take a different course. Let me tell you though, sometimes the door is shut and the hallway is so dark. Oh my God, that can be scary. But that's okay, we can heal that. And it's just a joke too. Whether it's your thoughts, behaviors, or major life decisions, you can choose a different door with a different course. Unlike the indecision card, which indicates confusion and vacillation about which course to take, The adjacent possibility card is here to tell you that you have many options and it's time to take a wider look at things. In terms of your goals, this card could indicate unknown and previously unconsidered ideas. Perhaps there's a marketing tool you haven't thought of, a connection you haven't tapped, or even an entirely different direction that would be more suited to you. Be conscious, be aware, be flexible, be willing to take time, take a new different direction, and act now. Okay, that is from a male from the other side. He's just sitting back, not wanting to say anything. I gave him every opportunity. They just said, I'm doing a good job. You're listening, so you're doing a good job. All right, so you got a family, all right. Oh, yeah, that definitely is something we can talk about. So if we can have, I'll answer that. If Lenny would just be a doll, we're going to say, Katrina Benjamin, if you're here, then I will honor that reading. If you're not here, then we will go to somebody else that remember, those new people that are here, share, put your name in the box so that Lenny can draw your name to have a reading. Just to let you know, if you share it, let us know you shared, and then she'll check. So, Robin says, let's see, where did it go? And she said, feeling I can't leave as the end isn't there. Okay. Tying up loose ends. All right. If that is the case, understand, why does Spirit have you there? Why are you still there? Before I could leave my husband, not the one I got now, but before, I was with him for 20 years. And for 16 years, I already knew 4 years in the marriage that, long story short, I knew he was done, but he was never going to let go of me. I was a possession. And I stayed because I wanted to be there for the kids, and I really believed that we could make it. Then we came down to where it became 16 years, and I was about ready to go, and I thought, no, I can't because something's not finished. And I thought, oh my God, 2 more years of hell. or at least more year of hell. 18 years goes by. I'm done. I walked. And Spirit basically said, you didn't do closure. Closure is so, 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 so important. Closure. What is closure? Closure is something that is very, very, very important, okay? Before I could actually move from Michigan to Australia, Spirit said, okay, you got a new path switch and you got to do closure. So I did closure. I thought I was traveling, okay? Point blank, I didn't know where I was going to be. I thought I was traveling. And I thought it was California first. That's okay. I love where I'm at now. It's so much better than I could ever dream or imagine. But closure is important. I started to close down the business. I started to close down my teachings. I started to close down the little things. Making sure that my kids knew how to take care of themselves, even though they resisted as hell. I planted seeds anyway. You need to ask personally, what is it you need to have closure to? I had to have closure to a lot of emotional ties that I had to my belongings, to my people, to the farm. I had a lot of things that were so important to resolve. Okay, it's closure. I did a lot of closure, and then all of a sudden, the man I'm married to now basically stepped in and started talking to me differently than he was before. And I'm like, ooh, really? Now, this is what the Spirit told me. If I hadn't done the closure, I wouldn't have had that energy that I had provided to all those things to take with me to see a whole new experience. So I began a whole new experience and I did my best. Now, Lenny says, Sam McDonald, if you're here, then you have a reading. Okay, if you're here, you say yes, and then I'll come to you. But closure. So when you make closure and you make peace and you've taken, especially healed the emotional crap off it, then what happens is your energy, your life force comes back, and then you're able to have the universe. You see how the universe is working in your favor. Okay, it's working in your favor. Sam, I know I saw you here. Hopefully you didn't disappear. Just in case he didn't hear it, Lenny, if you want to write down his name, that'd be great. So we'll wait a few minutes and we'll see what happens. But closure. If you're ready to move on and you get up and go and you don't do those little things, what will happen is that you'll get it worse than the first. Good, Sam's here. If you have any questions, anything, why did life show up shitty? If you're new to all this, just say cold reading. I'll do that. If you haven't resolved all of those issues that's necessary to take and go to the next part, you're going to have worse than the first. You're going to have these bitch slaps that are going to come in and you're like, Jesus, God, it's still following me. We're not asking you to run from your issues. We're asking you to resolve yourself so that when you go to that next step of your life, you have the closure and the energy you need to do the new. Okay? Sam, again, I'll, if you're typing, then I'll be patient. But if you just want me to do a cold read, and what I cold read, because he said he's new, or she's new, I can't tell male or female because it's not coming through. That's okay. A cold read is that your soul will give me energy that it wants to read. And things that you would need to resolve, or if a loved one's here, they will, communicate. And I think Sam is female. Thank you, Robin. So Samantha, Sam. Okay, so what I'm going to do is let's do a read. And now, they're saying they got silence. A cold read. Wonderful, Sam. Wonderful. And she is female. I feel like your energy also is, cloaked? You're cloaked, but that's okay. I'm just asking Spirit and we'll ask the people on the other side, what is it that needs to be addressed? Okay, because when you do able to, I love Samantha's name. I wanted to call my daughter Samantha, but she got Veronica. The energy is spiraling and it's coming down, and it says that there is a energy of fear. What are you doing right and what are you doing wrong? Do you feel like you're being judged for that type of thing, whether you're doing it right or wrong? Do you sit there and have these thoughts in your head that, oh God, I didn't say that right today, and now they're going to sit there and, if you have any of that, let me know. Because there is a position that people want to put you in, which is to be helpless. If that's true, let me know. Because the energy comes at you and it kind of like trips you and says, you're supposed to be that. Which could mean, as 4 years old, about right and wrong. So, why did that do that? It said nothing, and then as soon as I'm about ready to touch my mouse, 1,000 things popped in. I got to figure out where you're at. Okay, not too much off. Yes. Okay. Okay, I hear something on the other side at this point. I can't see it come. Wow, it's just like this black wall. It's just a wall. It's just there, but yet it's come closer to me. Do you feel like the walls are caving in? Just say yes or no. But at 4 years old, something that you had to become very defensive. It's not that you wanted to. Looking and fostering. Okay. So basically, they're looking into you. All right. So if that's the case, we're going to look and see if anything would stop you from being a fostering mother, right? It is to a child or to an animal. I can't just assume. But yes. Okay. What would be, turn the darn thing on. What would be the programs that she's worried about? Oh my God, hold on. Why is she worrying? You have an invading energy. You talk about emotions. Well, okay, so tell me more. You have to you're compelled to constantly correct yourself and neatness. Okay, so Samantha says, is this the right decision with my kids? But I feel, we're just going to look at this program. This program says that you have to constantly correct yourself, and you're defensive to some degree, and it feels awkward and anxious. This program is going to can cause okay, this invades into why you're worried. So this comes into why you're worried, is these things run through your mind. It is the uncontrolled thinking. And is there a specific emotion? No, it's all those. All right, so I would use hope therapy that I do and help you break down those chemical peptides in each of those, because it's like a big ball that goes and affects your spleen. And because and then that energy feels like you're constantly feeling attacked. That's why the energy was spiraling down. Okay. Now, I just answer her question before the time runs out. Answer her question. Her question was about, is it the right decision for my kids? Now, what's interesting is, regardless of what's going on, yes. Why? Because there are a lot of things that you're all supposed to grow together, learn together, be together. There is going to be a lot of lessons, whether good or bad, but it's something about a healthy bonding, of understanding what bonding is. Spot on. Good. Okay. All right, yeah, the feeling. Now, again, if we heal out those feelings, that feelings is creating something physically, but it is also creating an energy cord. And that's what you don't want somebody to answer, because you don't want them to have proof that it's right. You don't want to have to be a stumbling where if this is a pattern for you, then yes, kick that pattern to the curb. We need to get rid of that pattern. You're attached. What are you to this particular thing? So if this is something you've had all your life, they're saying, is it more than just attached? No, it's just the word attached. Okay. So you're attached to a specific outcome? No, just the way the emotions are. So is that your part of your strategy to get what you want? Is you have to go through all this before you can, you got it. If that's the case, then you know that your outcome is always going to be good. But the process of it is hellish. Okay, hopefully that makes sense to you. A lot of you've been taking the action, the right course of action, and has anybody said that you haven't? That's what's important to know. Has anybody said that you haven't taken the right course of action, which is causing you to doubt yourself, is what I'm curious about. They say that's a habit. Okay, so all right, Samantha, I'm looking for something. I don't know what. Oh, okay. Samantha. All right, I gotta get my readers on. Don't it look cute? Oh, just kidding. There's a little girl next to me. She's about this tall, and she's got like little strawberry blonde hair. She told me to do that. What they're saying here is a simple disconnection. The spirit body where it should be, but is not communicating with the physical body. So let me, okay, in a portion the spirit is outside of the physical body, and the result will be similar to disconnection. So you have a certain amount of energy, a spirit is outside of you. Is it disconnected? No. Okay, so that means that it's outside of you. We need to put it back in. And in this case, all right, so that's up to you. We can do that. We got a minute and 40 seconds. I can do that particular type of healing for you. Because they said part of that second guessing is because your spirit, a certain percentage of your spirit, how much, 10, 20, 30, 40, about 46% of you is not signaling in all the way. You're just like beside yourself. Have you ever felt like you were beside yourself? And if you felt like you're beside yourself, understand that is because you can feel your spirit being beside yourself. And we can change this. So if you want to do a healing, say yes. And then you have to just follow along with me. If you have a magnet, great. If you don't, we'll use just your hand, okay? But we can put your spirit back in. So, Samantha, if you're there. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, we only have like 40 seconds left. But your spirit is outside the body. You can connect with me and write to me or set up an appointment. Lenny can put the website down. And if you didn't do anything other than just work on putting your spirit back in the body, you can opt for the cheaper, what do you call it, appointment. But it sounds like we need to remove a lot of emotions that are stopping you from being happy and healthy. So Lenny will put that address up there, and so that you can see that. The bell's about ready to ring, and we're doing good. So what we do is we want one more person that if you have shared this link, then Lenny, or you put your name in the box, you let us know, and then she can pick a name. So she hasn't picked a name yet, so you got a couple seconds to share if you want to share and tell us you shared, and we can put that name in. I don't care if you already shared before. And we'll go from there. Okay. And I think it's Renee. If you want, then share, and then so we can put your name in the box, and so that we can oh, good. Renee shared. Her name's going in the box. Samantha, thank you. Yeah, so she said thank you so much. Hopefully you understand that it's not just getting a reading about understanding about your life, but there are healing tools that can be done. I've been doing this for a long time, and you can change your reality. You don't have to be a victim to it. You do not have to live in that paradigm anymore. So I'm going to say, as soon as Lenny gets everything in the box, she'll draw a name, and then she'll let us know. And we'll go from there. Now, hopefully you like this videos of what I'm doing. And you got lucky. You squeaked in, little girl. Rena, Misty. You squeaked in. She threw it in, shook the box, and she says it just came out. So Spirit said, it's you. All right. Well, I knew you were here 2 seconds ago, so hopefully if you're here, Misty, I'm just going to call you Misty, then just say yes. And if you want a cold read, we'll just say yes, and we'll go from there. Again, to do the healing, Lenny will put up my website is, do not put www because you're not going to find it, because it is one of those free websites. You have to just put in B Power MW, that's Brenda Power. So bpowermw.weebly, WEEBLY.com. And then you'll be able to find it. If you want a reading on the show, which means during the show you want a reading, then you can pay for that, and that can come right up. You'll see all the options. Yes, cold. Wonderful. I see a lot of rain. Do you like rain? Because if this is about you get 10 minutes because it's the last reading for the night. Rain. Rain is like an emotion that I feel. I don't know if you can identify with it or not, but you feel awkward, not when it's raining, but it's like an identification, if that makes sense. Okay, she said, yes, I like rain. And what happens is that when it's like when you connect with a song or a person, it's like it gets you, it understands you. Well, there's a certain awkward energy that seems to be a connection. See, when I look at a rainy day, because that's what I was doing, looking at a rainy day, there was a sense of, a sense of peace and belonging, a sense. And there was some type of, what it does is it feels like you feel connected and calmed. And then if it depends on the type of rain, from what I can hear, you become very self-conscious. Oh God, the camera sees everything. Oh my God, what is that? Self-conscious that what are people seeing? What are people doing? What are people viewing? Okay. And do you feel self-conscious? Are you even aware that you're doing it? Because I had somebody that was always self-conscious doing certain things, and they had no idea they had the habit. And I was standing back watching, and her friend went up to her and she says, well, you're doing it right now. And she says, no, I'm not. And, but sometimes those are, self-conscious, whether you're doing the right thing. This can be very confusing, especially when you're unwinding your daily life of misery. Okay. I call them the hells. Some people say it's just life, but do you know you're supposed to be hardwired for joy? Every single one of us is hardwired for joy, but we were convinced that we're supposed to be hardwired for suffering. When it's all about restrictions of right and wrong, right and wrong, right and wrong, the hugest part is to realize there is no right or wrong. Everybody's right or wrong. And it's about how you begin to define and follow your authenticity and learn to live by those rules for yourself, which can break if somebody says the right thing for you to do is to take out the groceries. And you're like, but you're right there. Why can't you do it? And they're like, oh, you're being selfish. Understand, people can say things to get you to do what they want. But the right thing to do is that if you felt that you wanted to help, not because you have to, because they told you. I hope this makes sense. The right thing to do for you, well, it could be the wrong thing to do for someone else. And people will not like when you begin to find who you are. She says, yes, I feel so peaceful when it rains. And that's why sometimes when it rains, you feel like it's like when somebody has a cigarette or a piece of candy or they have a drug. The rain is very good for you because you've connected with the rain at 2 years old when you were feeling completely awkward and you were looking outside and that rain says, it's okay, dear, it's okay. Don't know why I sound like an old lady all of a sudden. But the sense of panic, it's something that looks like it's built into you. It's like sits where that emotional button is in our stomach. And they said 4 years old. If any of this is right, please let me know so I can continue or go on to a new path. The closer to five, you panicked about something. Is it school? People. How are you with people? Because I feel like you were corrected. It's like you weren't standing in the right line or you didn't do something particular. And because of that, you became very self-conscious of, now everybody's looking at me. So if you have connected with that, let me know. All right, so I smell, I think, popcorn, or is it cookies? Now, you're a social butterfly, but there's something that affected you as a kid to do something. And the question is, do you feel any of those things, self-conscious and that, about in the now? Because usually what happens then will always show up in the now. No, don't do that. Okay. I feel like we're connecting, we're not connecting. There's something that you need to hear or see. And do you have a question on your mind? Because if information is being given to you from the other side and you don't quite get it, then we need to go in a direction that you understand. So you have to, I keep going back to this awkwardness. Awkward. Well, tell me more about this awkward. And it is a habit. So do you ever feel awkward? Because they're showing me the right temporal junction parietal lobe. That's that part of that brain that helps you think what other people think. People are drawn to her. Okay. Is that no? So why is it that it sounds like this reading is all wrong? A habit of traction. What are you talking about? And I can't refer to this, or can I? Okay. There's something that you're not able to see, and I'm not pushing the subject. But I am going to ask Spirit, and somebody is on the other side is going to draw a card for you, and we're using the okay, 3 if you want, but 1 would be best. Not all those. 1 of those. Excuse me. The one that's those. Oh, well, that's easy enough. They chose these 2. It's called the Alice in Wonderland deck by Lucy Cavendish. The cards that they chose were Law is Not Justice, and we have a moth that's here, and Nonsense. It's time to talk sense. So we're going to find out a little bit more about what it is that your soul wants you to know, and the people on the other side. Which one do you want me to read first? You very specific on this? Okay, 28. Nonsense. It's time to talk sense. That means I got to get my readers on again. I don't have any specific readers. I just stole them from my husband. He said, actually, take them. Okay. Well, which one do you want? Because it's upright into a divination. Reversed. Backing down at the moment of truth, running from a confrontation, allowing someone to intimidate you, an inability to find the courage within, fear of punishment, loss of voice, believing you cannot be brave without being aggressive. Okay, do not know what that means for you. If you do, let me know. Because it says the queen turned crimson with fury, and after glaring at her for a moment, like a wild beast, began screaming, "Off with their heads! Off with their heads!" "Nonsense," said Alice, very loudly and decidedly, and the queen was silent. Sometimes, like Alice, you're going to surprise yourself with your courage. When someone is being aggressive and threatening, You will need to stand up to them and speak to them in a very firm and strong manner, much as Alice does to the Queen, who is overly fond of abusing her power, threatening nearly everybody, and relating to people in one way or only: overbearance. If this has taken place with a person or situation within your life, you need to call that someone out on their bad behavior. Ooh, hold on. Ooh. Before I read any further, she says, I have filed 2 times for husband to come home from overseas, and it was denied. I started to feel depressed due to the denial. Okay. Depression can be healed, and we can change energy about that situation. So, as this says, divination-wise, courageously stand up for yourself when someone is behaving in a way that is silly and unfair. But what they said is that you were backing down at the moment of the truth, running from it, because you feel what? Law is not justice. Rules that are not fair. Which side do you want her to have? Someone may have the authority to impose the law, but the law or the rule is ready to be questioned. Following the law, even though it is unjust, condemnation without knowing the full story, being judged by people who do not know or have a biased view. You may be judging people you do not understand. Be sure to have a fuller picture and avoid condemnation and judgment. Be discerning, but be sure to be fair and just. So there's more to the story of why he can't, energetically, chord-wise. It's more to the story. Why can't it happen? Why isn't it happening? What is it you need to heal? What is it you need to learn? What is causing you to be out of sync? And when you heal, what causes you to be out of sync will actually cause you to become in sync. The relationship that me and my husband have here is that the moment that either one of us gets into life anything but love, then we're out of sync. We want a fast turnaround. We just ask Spirit, what is it we need to do? What do we need to think? How do we need to heal? What is it and boom, it all changes. And all of a sudden, we're taking authority and ownership with our feelings about what we were just looking at, about all of this. And then boom, our relationship gets back to being strong because we have this incredible connection with one another. So if you have tools, go use them. If you don't, you're more than welcome to set up an appointment and we can work on what it is your soul wants you to work on. And we would then begin to heal the layers. All right. So you guys have been a great audience. Like I said, if you prefer, was it Monday? Yeah, Mondays and Fridays are at 9. If you prefer 9 o'clock at night on Facebook, then let me know which night you think would be good. Because I'm thinking about YouTube. Now, until I can get my computer to cooperate, I'm going to have to do Facebook and then YouTube. If I can get my computer to communicate so I can do both Facebook and YouTube, then we don't have an issue. But just to let you know, I may split the days up just so that I can be on YouTube and hit that audience as well. Renee said, I'm just going to call you Renee. I don't know why it wants to come out that way, but exactly what I was going through with the law. Thank you. Okay, but we can heal this to help in your favor. We can heal those energy cords, those emotions and things that would help you go more into your favor. And even if it didn't, we can help you with the emotions so that you can see a bigger picture. Okay, there's lots of things we can do. All right, so what is it today? Friday? That means Monday at 9. If I'm correct, please, Lenny, let me know. Because for some reason, when I get in this stage, numbers don't make sense to me. Calendars don't make sense to me. And it's funny when people have to pay, I have to actually make sure I have a chart because I'll just look at it and it doesn't look like numbers. I do not know what they look like. They just don't, they smell like they're green. They don't look right. And so I have to readjust everything. Okay. So Monday and wait a minute. I thought Monday and Friday was at 9 and Tuesday and Thursday was at Tuesdays and Friday. That tells you a lot, don't it? I told you I can't do this. Thank you, Lenny. So Mondays and Thursdays are at 1 p.m. Tuesdays and Fridays are at 9. Boy, okay. I just got to put a calendar up and put it up there so I can see it, and maybe recalling is no fun. Now, Rosa, it's nice that you joined us, but we're going to be done. But remember that if you get on and you share the video, and then you can put your name in a shared box, and then we let fate draw for us. Okay, so that way you can win a free reading, because most of the time I don't usually pick, and then if I do, it's because Spirit has really got something to say. So I thank you for joining. Rewatch the video. You can learn a lot about the quantum law of attraction. And did I say matrix? Yeah, it's your daily life. You can be sucked into the matrix. I do have to tell you something before you all go. The matrix. I used to teach class, and people would get so much out of it, and then as soon as they walked through the doors, they were back into their matrix. And it was like, oh my God, they had to deal with it. And then they come into class and they can get out of their matrix and into the spiritual matrix and felt so much better. Why I want to do it so many times is I want you to feel like if you got caught up into your matrix and you can't figure it out, come into this space so that you can feel, and it can support you, and it can help you grow so that you can spiritually be in a different space than having to live out there feeling like you're alone all the time. All right, so I love you and thank you so much for everything that you have. The support, it's wonderful. So keep supporting me, keep helping me grow. Then we can, I will stay here and I'll be doing my purpose longer. And you're all very welcome. And see you Monday. Or you can just rewatch the videos. Remember the timestamp there. It'll help you learn stuff. And if you do need an appointment made, go to my website. Remember, no www, none of that. Just write it out, and then we'll make an appointment. You can even do personal readings, personal healings, all of this. Okay, I love you so much. Stay blessed, everyone.